Hello, everyone, and welcome again to day two of Advent of Cyber 2025. Today, we'll be talking about phishing. Phishing is a form of social engineering. Most of us are already familiar with this terminology, and it's basically trying to use to mimic a particular individual style to trick people, organizations, to click on links or respond to certain information via email that are not what we based on our knowledge of phishing. We know that to tag to tag an email as a phishing email, it means someone is illegitimately trying to access personal information. It then depends on what that information is, but the major pointers are they're going to be suspicious. They may be telling you to click on something, they may be telling you they want to offer you something, and they may be pushing you to do something you know is not due process. Without further ado, we'll move into our terminal where we've already started by seeding into the day two directory, and we want to simulate a phishing attack. So first things first is to run our Python script that has already been pre-populated. So we're running the Python script to initiate our phishing server. That's where we're going to be getting the credentials for our target our target or our fish specimen or our target um, audience, and we are simulating the phishing using a social engineering toolkit called SCT. And to do that, so basically, just a brief run through of what this entire process is all about. We have one server that's collecting the information, and then we have another terminal or server that we have used to execute the phishing attack. So, in essence, what this process is explaining basically is how phishing attack is being simulated. And then, with the basic understanding of how a phishing attack can be simulated, we are then able to build defenses and to protect our system against such attacks. Yeah, I hope you understand the entire process right now. So now we have opened a new terminal, and in our new terminal, we want to launch our set toolkit, which is the social engineering toolkit. So using the command set toolkit, and now that we have typed in that SETOOLKIT, press enter, and then now it begins to run the entire process. And now it's giving us a list of options. It says select from the menu social engineering attack, which is what we want to do. If we wanted to do any other thing, we would have selected the other option, but right now we selected option one, which is social engineering attack. And then the next thing it says, what do we want to do? Spear phishing, or exactly what do we want to do. And basically what now is mass mail attack. And then based on that information from the mass mail attack, it asks if we want to use a single email address or an attack mass mailer. So our option is a single email address, and we are selecting according to the steps that has been already provisioned by THM. Our send email will be to factory@weval.thm, and then we want to create our own server, which is obviously what we already have on the terminal at the top of the screen. So now that we are using our own server, we're going to specify the from address, which is what we've already copied here as update at flyingdeer.thm. And then next thing is to populate with other information like the from name. Yeah, would say the message is from flying there, and it's asking if we want to set up a username for open relay. I'll leave as blank. Password leave as blank as well, since we didn't set anything at all. The SMTP email server address will then be the server details we already have on the top terminal. That is where whatever clicks or information that is being released via the phishing attack would be populated. So that information goes into our server that we have up here on the terminal. And our SMTP port number is 25. 25 stands for every SMTP port number. So that is not far-fetched. We click enter. Flag this message as high priority. Well, not necessarily. So we leave it as no. And at this point, if you want to attach a file, you click yes, but we're not attaching any file for this. Do you want to attach an inline file? We also don't want to attach an inline file. What's going to be the subject of the email? The subject for this email, we would set it as shipping schedule challenge changes. Excuse me. Shipping schedule changes. And after we have imputed that as the subject of our email, we would also want to state if we are sending the email as a plain text or an HTML template. We'll leave it as plain, which is the default. So we click enter. And now it says to enter the body of the message and type end when we are done. So I'll just think of something to populate the body of the email. At this point, if you were to be a real attacker, these days they begin to integrate the capabilities of AI to help them compose a very convincing phishing email. However, just for the purpose of this course, we will just focus on, a very amateur drafts for the email body. But even if it were to be a real attack, by paying attention to this email, we would be able to identify if is a phishing email, a spam, or a legit email. But I wouldn't want to talk much on that, so let's just continue with what we are doing. So right now I began to draft an email. I said click this link to redirect your package, and then I put in the IP of our server, and on the next line I stated, oh, sorry for the inconvenience, and that's going to be like the end of our email. Now we are done with our simulation. We click enter to end the entire simulation and wait for the information to be populated on our server that is opened on the terminal at the top. This usually takes a while, so we would hold on till till the information is populated. So now the information has been populated on our terminal here, and of course we can already see that it has been able to capture certain information. Now we have the username as admin, and we have the password already revealed to us on our server. With this information now, we've been able to steal the credentials of the um, user that we have directed this phishing attempt to, and then we now know the password we can use to access the information if we want to. So now, as cybersecurity professional, having a clear understanding of how a phishing attack can be simulated and run, we would now create our own defenses to protect our system. So basically, that's the essence of this this entire video or training. There's a common saying about you have to think like a thief to catch a thief. Yeah, it's a common saying, you know, and now that we are able to understand, oh, this is how it works. Of course, there are other tools or other processes that can be used, but this is obviously one of them. And now that we know that this is what it is, we would be able to create defenses on our system to prevent further attack. All right, as a proof of concept now, the next thing we are going to do is, having figured out what this information is, passwords that we have retrieved from here, and now we are able to log in to the factory users accounts. And here is the email we have just sent. It says, click this link to redirect your package, and basically that is it.